Good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's 5 a.m. bright and early here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I've been thinking about making this video for a day or two now. I've been going through the grieving process, and I didn't even realize it. One of the biggest emotions I've had over the last couple days is guilt. I've talked to a counselor. I've talked about this. I think about if I could have done something different, if I could have said something different, done something different a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 2 years. If I could have done something different 2 years ago, would it have changed the course of events? Seriously, I'm thinking this constantly. And, as people are telling me this is part of grieving, but and I know it deep down. I know it is, but I still can't help feeling it. I still feel the guilt. I still keep, even though I know it doesn't make sense and it's not relevant. I keep asking myself it. Even though it doesn't make sense. All right. So over the last few days, I've been sitting down with my family members and other people, grieving together. Even people of all different political views. And even as I'm sitting with these people, we're grieving the loss, and then all of a sudden, inevitably, somebody will say, and I'm usually sitting with other Trump, not with other, but with Trump supporters, and one of them will start saying, "I saw it on Hannity that it's all immigrants. Biden's letting all these immigrants across the country. That's what this whole problem is. They're flooding our country with this virus. He's ruining our country. I saw it on Hannity." Seriously, I've heard that over and over. Hannity especially, right? So I've been watching the news too, and Donald Trump coming out and saying the same exact thing. Ron DeSantis leaving his state, where they've set records for last week. That's where my ex-girlfriend died, Jacksonville, Florida. And Ron DeSantis leaves a state where they set records for daily new cases, daily hospitalizations, the most cases in 1 week. All these records blown out of the water this last week in Florida. And Ron DeSantis leaves the state to go to Texas to complain about Joe Biden and immigrants. All right, so I started thinking about this, and I wanted to go about proving that, because when you look at the map of these outbreaks, which is one of the first things I did, you see them all through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Arizona, Wyoming, Colorado, basically. But most of them in the southern states. And logically, I would think, logic tells me that if this is coming over the southern border, you would see this. You'd see a flame of new cases spreading up from the border. And now, of course, I know the people that are pushing this whole theory are going to say, well, Biden's busing them to different cities and states. So that's why you can't tell. All right. So I started looking up ICE numbers for ICE, and I found there was I'll put the link down below. These numbers are updated constantly, and there's maybe 1,000 immigrants right now in all of ICE detention that test positive for COVID-19. 1,000, maybe 1,200. Right now, across all of ICE. So that didn't there was 130,000 new cases just yesterday. So that obviously doesn't speak well for this whole theory that it's undocumented immigrants spreading this. So I started looking at border numbers, Border Patrol, all these different numbers. And then you want to try to prove who's coming down with this, but because of HIPAA rules, I can't prove who's in the hospital beds. So as I'm racking my brain on this, all of a sudden I realized I'm going down this rabbit hole. I'm not thinking logically here. I'm falling for the rhetoric. Trying to prove that about this, it's all illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants. I'm falling for it. So I just started thinking about the basics. Just yesterday, 130,000 people, just yesterday, across the entire country tested positive. All right. Throughout the whole month of June, 190,000 undocumented immigrants flooded into the country. 190 in 1 month, 130 in 1 day. Those numbers don't match up. Obviously, that tells me that this is being spread from American to American. It has to be. There's more Americans than there is undocumented immigrants. So obviously, this is spreading between people who aren't taking precautions. That's the bottom line. See, I started to lose view of that. I started to go down this rabbit hole. The bottom line is, you can't ignore the proof. It's spreading from American to American. And it's spreading from American to American who aren't taking any precautions, who are just thumbing their nose at it. That's the bottom line. There's no way around that. This isn't all coming from undocumented immigrants. The numbers don't pan out. It doesn't even make any sense. If there was a rash of burglaries in this town every night, armed people breaking into houses, and there was a particular group of people that just believed that they were gonna lock their doors. They didn't think they had to lock their doors. Would that happen? No. Under these same circumstances, these same people that don't protect themselves at all, they're more than happy to arm themselves or whatever for something like that. But when it comes to this, they just ignore it. And then they blame it on other people, the others, the people that don't look like them, the people that don't belong here. And then I started thinking it's even more than that. It's as if these same people are just leaving their front doors wide open. The concerts, the motorcycle rallies. It goes beyond the vaccinations. It goes to the masks. Not even taking basic precautions, actually going out of your way to make precautions illegal or unregulatable. It's as if these same people are not only like if there were burglaries in this town, they're not only not locking their doors, they're leaving their doors wide open with a sign on the front that says, "Come on in, we got valuables." It's the same thing. And so these same people, they are more than happy to protect themselves against anything else. Just adamantly refuse. And it's not just about the vaccine. It's not just about putting something in your body. It goes way beyond that. If that's your excuse. The masks. It goes beyond the masks. Because these people are just gathering in these huge groups, just thumbing their nose, ignoring it. I can't be afraid to live my life. Can't be afraid to die. Well, believe me, if you heard what it was truly like to go through this, you'd protect yourself. If you truly understood the pain and suffering that's involved with this variant, you probably think differently. Just some thoughts. I'll have all the links below. You guys have a good Sunday.